Yo, today I've got a review of the new Ariana Grande album, Eternal Sunshine. And I know you see that thumbnail and title, but just hear me out, okay? Hear me out for a little. I wouldn't call myself an Ariana Grande fan, just generally not a fan of a lot of pop stars, except of like a couple, but I'd say I tolerate Ariana Grande. I don't think she makes revolting music that makes me cringe and want to turn it off. No, not really. Compared to her peers in the mainstream pop scene, I think she's got some decent music. I like some of the material off of Dangerous Woman and Thank You Next, those being two of my favorite albums from her. However, I think this album is arguably her most boring and bland. I'll start off by saying a couple of things that it has going well for it. There are decent choruses on here on a few tracks, my favorite probably being on The Boy Is Mine. That may be my favorite song on this album, or at least it's one of the tracks that I like. Of course, she can sing. There are some good vocals on here, especially on True Story. And the length of this project, it's quite short, only 35 minutes, 13 tracks, and if it was any longer, let's just say I would have enjoyed it even less. Okay, now let's get to why I think it's boring and dull, and why it's some of the worst and least interesting music that I've heard from her. As far as pop goes, this is literally as pop as you can get, mixed in with a little bit of dance elements. I'd say it's like dance pop. And sadly, this doesn't really sound that great to me. There is barely any progression or development in the songs. I feel like it's just the same basic song structure getting repeated, and that can get boring, doesn't it? And I honestly have a hard time differentiating songs from one another. The palette of sound is really not diverse here to me, and the only few tracks that stand out to me are Bye, Supernatural, True Story, and The Boy Is Mine. I'd say those are my favorites from the project, and let me get into why. I like the mix on Bye, and the chorus isn't too bad. Yes, very repetitive, but doesn't sound bad, and it's one of my favorite instrumentals on the album, so there's that. Supernatural is chill, and I kinda like the drums on it and the bass. The chorus is nice too with her higher pitched vocals. True Story has my favorite vocals from her on the whole album. I really like her performance on here, and the whole song is pretty cool. I also like the drums a lot. They are different from the rest of this album, I guess. And The Boy Is Mine. The chorus is the reason I like this song as much as I do. I'd say the most catchy chorus on the whole album. But everything else, no. The lead single, Yes And, is one of my least favorite tracks on here, literally the most basic dance pop song, and it's annoying. The chemistry between Ariana Grande and the instrumental in the title track, Eternal Sunshine, is just not good. It's pretty much a trap instrumental, and to be fair, Ariana Grande has pulled it off before, but here it just doesn't work. I Wish I Hated You takes me out of the album even more, way too slow paced and just isn't sequenced well into the album, kills me completely going into the last two tracks. And to talk about the lyrics briefly, I mean, this is supposed to be a personal and mature album from her, which you can see in the lyrics. Definitely some decent lyricism on here, but it's ruined by the structure and the sound of the project. I feel like she should have pushed boundaries a little more, even lyrically. Yes, the topics are there that she talks about, there are some cool lines, there are some interesting songs lyrically. I feel like she could have pushed it a bit more, and definitely could have pushed it more sound-wise. So yeah, overall, this is a very boring project from Ariana, in my opinion. Very bland, and I struggle to find good moments throughout. Only a few songs that stand out. If the project was a bit more out there sonically, I think paired up with the lyrics, it would have worked great, but it just doesn't. I'm gonna go with a strong 3 out of 10. Let me know what you guys think. If you liked the album, tell me why. If you didn't, also tell me why. I'm looking to hear your guys' opinions. Please make sure you like and subscribe. That would mean so much to me, is that it help push my video and my channel into the YouTube algorithm. But yeah, I guess I'll see you guys next time. Peace.